A very good morning, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We are taking a look on what is happening in the nation Zimbabwe. Few days ago, Daniel Chingoma passed away and is no more. He's a self-taught or a self-made Zimbabwean engineer, also a musician, and also a politician. He is no more. He has gone. You know, when we grew up in Chitungwiza, we remember that Chimba Kamboka Keka Inzi, Daniel Chingoma is a singer, Daniel Chingoma is a scientist. He said, I want to improve science in the world. So, you know, this was his message. We used to run around Chitera, Ajita Zwaita, and those are the days he first made chikopokopo chake chekutanga. Then around 2009 tatat kure he also did the same. So let us take a look onto this report, then we get to the full story. Daniel Chingoma, a Zimbabwean self-taught engineer, musician, and politician, is now dead. And let us take a look on some highlights of his life. He was born in 1968 and attended Zunze Primary School in Rusape and St. Mary's Mission before dropping out in Form 3. Then he created the Zimcopter, which was banned from leaving the ground. Chingoma created the chopper from scrap metal and a Lexus V8 engine. In 2019, he created another helicopter, but the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe CAS would not clear him to fly. The economic messiah formed the Zimbabwe Industrial and Technological Revolution Party in 2010. And we have seen so many posters of his party around some places. So in 2013, Chingoma and his wife were sentenced to an 18-month jail term for fraud after their water harvesting firm, Taisek Engineering, failed to drill a borehole after receiving payment. His son, Tinotenda, studied aeronautics in South Africa. This is the information which is right here, and this is according to +263 chat. So, you know, these are the pictures of Daniel Chingoma and also the pictures of the helicopters which he made. On this picture, you know, mixed feelings are there. Some people believe kuti chikopokopo chaka bururuka. Some people say changa chaka yengwa nematanda. But if you take a look onto this picture, which is right here, this shows the helicopter suspended. This is something which is so clear. Helicopter rimdenga. But this is not a video, which makes it difficult for the people to ascertain, was it flying on its own or it was hanged upwards. So some of the people believe kuti chikopokopo chakato buruka zvechokwadi. That is the information which we received some years back. But if you take a look onto what Daniel Chingoma did, he's a man who had an idea. There was no need for the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe to deny him a chance to prove himself. Ndo panoda kuti munhu kana achitora hake that, what do you call it, zvicertify in terms of safety, kuti guys, inini hangutoburutsa chinhu changu ichi kunzvimbo dzisina vanhu, kana inini ndafa ndadi ndafa. That is something chekuti he was supposed simply to sign on behalf of himself, to say kana ndafa ndadi ndafa, let me fly chinhu ichi kusina vanhu in a farm or any other place, it is safer. Okay, you give him guidelines ukuthi awufly kusvika kwakati, we just need you to fly around. You give him the parameters. Cars would have gone with him in a farm. Oenda unonzi kuenda mdenga buruka kusvika pakadai, kuenda kwakati buruka kusvika pakadai, and they will be communicating. Ndo zvinoita nyika ine vanhu vari kutungamirira vari kuda development. Ndo zvinoita nyika ine vanhu vari kutungamirira vari kuda kuti zvinhu zvinge zvichifamba zvakanaka. But they failed him, both Robert Mugabe and Emerson Mnangagwa. These are leaders who have been in power, but they have failed to empower their own engineers, self-made engineers. They have failed to make their self-made engineers prosper. This is a man who started this thing from scratch on his own without the help of anybody. But they simply failed to support him. They failed to make this thing fly. Guys, these are the kind of people we have. Imagine Zimbabwe, it cries each and every day about resources. They're wasting millions and millions of dollars. Vachenda kunotsvaga technology from other countries. Yet you have people like Daniel Chingoma who had the ability to be developed further. But you failed them. They just needed a willing government. They just needed a resourceful government which invests in its own people. But they were failed, left, right, and center. So, personally, I will not take any other argument because this is a direct matter of negligence from our government. They neglected their own engineers. You know, in Africa, if you are not educated to an extent of having a diploma or a degree, you are regarded as somebody who is useless. This is the problem which we have. There are some people with ideas who think, but they never reached to a point of having a degree or a diploma. Those are people who are neglected the most because the government is not creating space for such people like that. The engineering sector in Zimbabwe is dead. Go to Mugabe, you will see potential in Evano Veduma Zimbabwean engineers. They compete with some big companies, but they are incapacitated and the government is doing nothing to improve them. We are talking about things which we know. Go into various areas in Harare. There is a young man in Kwadzana akagadzira a motor iri kufamba right now. There is no will from the government to make sure that they incorporate that young man and promote that young man to do things which are better. There is nothing happening from the government side. You know, there are elements dziri kusubmitwa nevanhu dze-free energy. These are some things which are proven. Which means if something is proven, what is needed is more research to say, okay, this thing is proven. This thing can self-generate power. But can we then make a research so that we create something bigger? We are being told by people who studied engineering, by people who call themselves scientists. They will tell you there is nothing called free energy, this blah blah blah. But there are some things which we have proven publicly. We have proven some things kubatanza and see kuti zvinhu zvinoshanda here, and it has worked with low capacity. Which means we now need the people with more knowledge then and more ideas to then start to develop things, working around things to say, okay, if we improve apa ne apa chakati chino improve chakadai tikaisa ichi ne ichi apa zvinodai. There are limitations which are being put by companies, big companies. Varikuona kuti okay, if we allow free energy to start happening right now, free renewable energy, if we allow it to start happening right now, it means Ivo vanobuda out of business. They will never be in business. So these people, they do not want evolution to happen in such a way, or they want to delay situations to happen. So when we talk about these issues, they are ignored, yet there are some things which are very, very, very important. I've asked the questions to say, a car which is traveling in the highway, it uses a light. It uses headlights. You are traveling from Harare to Bedbridge. You are using headlights. Okay, for example, let us talk about trucks. They will be using headlights. They will be using some of them. They will be installing even my refrigerators, mukati, my bars, my TV, my charging ports, and everything. Take a look on the alternator. Have you ever measured the RPM of the alternator to say, okay, how many revolutions does this alternator have to fully charge this battery to be able to power the whole bus? If we are to put the same thing on the ground, or if we are to find the same motor with the same capacity to bring those RPMs, then are we not going to have something? For example, when you turn that motor from the alternator, if you turn it by hand, it will produce power to some extent, a voltage to some extent in Buddha pap. Which means if you use further technology, my flywheels, if you can put it on a system like of a bicycle powered by or helped by a flywheel, it means kuti generation capacity it improves and increases. You know, kukare kwedu tichikura kwaiva nemabhasikoro ana sekuru ekuti vaichovha, pavari kuchovha vachiwedzera kuchovha rinowedzera light, vakachovha mbijana light racho rine richiripo but rakadhima. We saw it growing up. That technology, why is it not being developed further? What is the problem now? These are some things which can be dealt with, some things which can be fully researched right here in Africa. Because tisu tiri kumashure in terms of technology. Those countries ahead of technology, they will never jeopardize what has been giving them money. They want to maintain, and they will phase out other systems slowly, but not abruptly. Which means it's Africa, it's us in marginalized countries who must invest more in these things. There are things which we have been told by engineers, learned people wakatoenda kuma polytechnics. Vanokuzati ano ichakati achite, but we have proved them wrong. Kuti no, these things can happen. It's just that we do not have enough funding for us to show the level of knowledge and intelligence we have reached. This is the same reason I always agree with Daniel Chingoma to say there are certain things which we can do as a nation, as a people. But we are limited by the kind of leaders which we have, who do not even care or who do not prioritize what is important. So this is it. Daniel Chingoma, I believe that he was failed by these comrades, Robert Mugabe and Mnangagwa. I believe that they failed Daniel Chingoma. May his soul rest in peace, and we'll continue to watch and see. We'll see. Kuti mwana wa Chingoma akanostada or further in terms of technology, what will he do to improve? You know, Daniel Chingoma helicopter yake yafana kufoira, but yaiswa put to test publicly with the government. Ichinyatsoti vanhu uyai pachena ma television networks ouya ngati teste chinhu chemunhu uyu, kana zvaramba kana zvabvuma, we improve from there. We start to see kuti okay, izvi zvinoitika saka toita sei. Then they were going to have some partnerships maybe with the military or with the government. Votanga kutogadzira zvinhu zviri well improved, zvinhu zvaanani. But we are where we are. Imagine kana zvakadaro, and you start to capacitate yourself, you start to develop some things which are quite better. Tingadai tiri papi senyika. But those are really, guys. This is it, Team Zimbabwe. Let us meet in other episodes and other broadcasts. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. And it's a blessed Sunday. Let us meet at church.